Every person has a favorite Pokemon. Whether it's Pikachu or Charizard, Mega Rayquaza or Zacian, there are certain Pokemon that get all of the plushies, merchandise, and are beloved by nearly everyone. Throughout its nearly 30-year lifespan, Pokemon has released some of the cutest, coolest, and most lovable creatures. But what about the Trubishes and Love Discs of the world? Sure, there are a few fans of them, but they are few and far between. Are they doomed to spend the rest of eternity serving as a filler background role, or maybe a surprise throw pick in a competitive tournament? No. I want to give all of these guys a chance. Based on a survey from, 8 years ago now on Reddit, there is a full list of what Pokemon are the most and least popular. They figured this out rather simply, and you can check the description for a link to the Reddit post, but in short, the surveyor asks Reddit what Pokemon they used on their adventure through a specific game. The results were then separated into region, Unova for Black and White, and New Unova for Black and White 2, for example, to give you a full list of which Pokemon are the most and least popular for that specific region. There are plenty of flaws with this list, such as only including fully evolved Pokemon, but this is still the best resource I can find to give me what the regular general population of Pokemon fans loved and used. Using this information, I intend to do a hardcore Nuzlocke using only the least popular Pokemon from the survey on the least popular mainline Pokemon game. And in case you're wondering, least popular Pokemon means the bottom half of the survey results. That may sound like a lot until you find out that even the Pokemon at the top of the bottom half only has a usage of 4.4%. Looking at numbers from Wikipedia and Bulbapedia, the game that we're going to play is honestly kind of surprising. Pokemon White 2. By the end of 2013, Pokemon Black 2 had sold 1,629,125 copies, and Pokemon White 2 trailed closely behind at 1,447,576. I will say, these are stats based on the Japanese market, as that is all that is provided by Bulbapedia. Every other source just kind of combined sales numbers of Black 2 and White 2, so we're going with Bulbapedia's Japanese stats. Regardless, these two games are the lowest selling games of any mainline game, no matter what source you're looking at. Now that the stage is set, let's begin our hardcore loser lock through the biggest loser game of all time to show that even the biggest losers deserve a victory. Hey, if you're watching this and at any point you go, whoa, this video is so cool, I want to subscribe and support this small creator, yeah, consider liking and subscribing the video. My little channel could use all of the help it could get to reach a wider audience, and it would mean the most to me. And I know, to any of my other viewers that are coming back to this video, I get it. This is still not a zombies video. Zombies videos haven't been getting a lot of good views lately. I've been deterred, and I just don't want to play zombies with the cringe that is Black Ops 7. But listen, the channel is the Korean game master, not the Korean zombies master, okay? Anyways, if you're somehow new to the Nuzlocke community, here is a quick rundown of what a hardcore Nuzlocke entails. If you already know this, feel free to skip ahead using the timestamps. Firstly, a normal Nuzlocke has 3 essential rules. 1, you can only catch the first Pokemon you encounter on any route. 2, you must nickname each Pokemon you obtain to enhance your bond with them. And 3, once a Pokemon is knocked out, it is dead and you can no longer use them. Those are the 3 basic rules. A hardcore Nuzlocke then adds 2 additional rules on top of these 3. 4, you cannot use healing items while inside of battle. Well, you can't use items in general, it's just healing items are the general ones, but you can't use X items either. Anyways, you get what I mean. 5, you cannot go past the level cap. Some people make it the next gym leader's lowest level, but I prefer to make the next gym leader's highest level because I am far from the best Nuzlocker in the world and want to actually still enjoy myself. There are plenty of other small rules and clauses that you can include or exclude to your liking, but the only 2 that I employ is the shiny clause and the dupes clause. These are less rules and more just ways to enhance the fun of your game. The shiny clause means that you can catch any Pokemon even if it isn't your first encounter and use it on your team if it's shiny. Obviously, you can abuse this rule, so I make it a personal rule that I can only obtain 1 randomly encountered shiny while playing. The dupes clause is a much more common situation that comes up where if I encounter a Pokemon that I already have, or any of its evolutions or pre-evolutions, on a different route, I can essentially re-roll the encounter and not count that duplicate as my encounter. Trust me, I will be abusing this as much as possible. And if you couldn't tell from the intro, the difference between a normal Nuzlocke and this loser lock is that I can only use the Pokemon in the bottom half of that survey. If I encounter a Pokemon not in the bottom half, I re-roll the encounter since it was technically not a viable encounter. If you don't agree with me, make your own video. I don't know. This is just how I have fun. Anyway, onto the game. Our adventure starts off like every other one, mashing through text and naming our rival History, because nothing determines the losers more than history books. Speaking of history books, those will be the basis for our Pokemon nicknames going forward. Although these Pokemon are considered losers, I figured we might as well manifest some positive energy and name them after the winners in history. At least those noted about and immortalized in world history, I should say. We gotta manifest victory since it won't come easy going to... Hang on, hold on, back up. Is that a Carnivine? This ain't vanilla, I'm unsubscribing. But before you do, hear me out. I only changed 2 things for my playthrough to make it entertaining that is different from vanilla. First, I changed impossible evolutions. So instead of having to trade my Pokemon to Nick and praying he gives it back, I can just evolve it in-game. It saves me from having to face my severe lack of IRL friends and, you know, wasting time trying to more realistically trade it using totally legal software. Secondly, and most importantly, I changed the starters to the 3 least used Pokemon in this game according to the survey. These happen to be Carnivine, Delibird, and Corsola, each with a whopping 0% utilization by the survey takers. Lunatone is also included in this, but sorry buddy, there's only 3 slots. I ended up going with Carnivine because I didn't see many viable grass types in my future, and having a Pokemon with Levitate might actually be useful in the future. We named him after possibly the biggest winner in history, Alexander the Great, to, once again, manifest some positivity. With Alexander and Ball, we march our way through the early story, snag our only available option on Route 19, Napoleon the Patrat. I scroll down to find that if I simply just wait until after the first gym, I can get rustling grassy encounters, and instead of garbage Sunkern, I can get the fairly decent early game encounters of Dunsparce or Audino. But am I really going to go into the first gym with only 2 Pokemon and one of them being a Patrat? So Charon's team has a level cap of 13, and although he can be scary with spamming a setup move on the first gym, unfortunately for him, Carnivine starts with the exact same move that just happened to go through a legal name change. While Charon does his best to work up, I was already 3 moves ahead of him and grew? Whatever. I raised my stats on his first wand to make his Lillipup go down in only 2 Vine Whips. And in the most tutorial-esque first gym of any game, we get our first gym badge. I completely ignore the plot since my head is only full of thoughts of the majesty that is Dunsparce and get instead Cleopatra the Audino and Flacessi Ranch from a rustling grass patch. I'm not too deterred though, since the ranch and Route 20 have effectively the same encounter tables, at least as far as I'm concerned, and after popping some repels to avoid Sunkern and 10 minutes of running back and forth and abusing the dupes clause, I finally get Mother Teresa the Dunsparce. We make our way to Verbank City and rush to Verbank Complex, excited to finally get a new addition to our... There's no viable encounters. Okay. Quickly moving on to Gym 2, because this game likes to give back-to-back gyms pretty quickly early on. We run in there with basically only a Patrat, and that seems daunting at first, but you have to remember, Charon kind of gave me a free workup TM, and after giving Patrat a silk scarf I found on the ground, I can kind of just set up and sweep my way through. Plus, you know, I always dodge those crits, baby! Never punished. Yet another quick and uneventful gym. After pushing Team Plasma out of my way and dealing with a man's midlife celebrity crisis and one-upping him by actually becoming a celebrity against my will, we finally ferry our way to the mainland in big ol' Castelia City. I decided to go to the place everyone wants to visit in a big city, the sewers, and use some repels to delay my encounter. You may be wondering why I'm doing this, but this is so that I can get my Castelia City Park encounter. And if you're like me and didn't know this existed, don't worry. But we can get either a Rattata, a Cottony, or a Skitty here. 2 of these are stone evolutions, so I'm actually hoping for the 30% Rattata. So we get our encounter, and thank God we got Columbus the Rattata. This means we have a new viable team member, but more importantly, this actually guarantees us our delayed encounter in the sewers, our good friend Augustus the Grimer. Finally, before finishing our stinky soiree, we change our game session to snag ourselves the best held item in the game, leftovers. And yes, you actually can get a leftovers this early in the game. It should really put into perspective how hard some of these later fights are going to get. Speaking of hard fights, after evolving everyone we can in our box, we get our first somewhat difficult fight in the form of Bug Gym Leader Berg. Here we see my greatest weakness as a trainer, impatience. See, if I was a smart man, I would have pre-poisoned my Guts Pog-Raticate, or Pograt for short, but not wanting to waste time on what I thought was an easy fight, I just winged it. And honestly, it turned out better than it should have. Berg's first 2 Mons fall to a work-up Hyperfang combo followed by a work-up Sucker Punch combo, no problem. The problem truly starts when his ace, Leavanny, comes out. I'm so scared of this grasshopper-looking thing that for the first time this run, I pull out the damage calculator and find that there is no way I'm killing this thing with Raticate. Not only am I not killing it, but it outspeeds my entire team. But I quickly see my out. Instead of using my +2 Raticate's attack stat and praying for a crit, I intimidate them with a scary face, reducing its speed by 2 stages. I can then swap into our recently acquired Augustus the Grimer, who tanks the Razor Leaf with no issue, and is able to slowly whittle down the gross gargantuan grasshopper by munching on an Oranberry and making use of our recently acquired TM of Venoshock from the last gym leader. These gym leaders sure do love to hand me the keys to victory for the next one. However, I somehow doubt that Struggle Bug will take me to victory against Gym 4. But enough worrying about the future, it's encounter time. Our next encounter in the Relic Passage is one that the entire internet, including myself, knows on a first name basis. You know him, you hate him, he died to a Jinx in an Alpharad video, it's Gandhi the Onyx. I have very low hopes for him. However, he gives me some much needed type diversity, so I quickly remove Watchog and add him to the team. I then head north to the desert, fight Colress, and flex on him by getting a Stench proc with Grimer before moving on to get a few more encounters in the desert. We then head further north to Joint Avenue where I spend roughly 5 minutes screaming and mashing the A button before making our way to Gym Leader 4, Elisa. Now, under normal circumstances, this electric gym would be scaring the crap out of me right now. Her Emolga No has the insane power potential of Volt Switch and Acrobatics that would decimate nearly anyone on my team, except for one man. A man capable of standing up against the entirety of Great Britain, but not a single Ice Punch Jinx. It's Gandhi the Onyx, of course, the Pokemon I dismissed not even a minute ago. Having high defenses and being a ground type are 2 of the 3 good things about Onyx, so sending him out and spamming Smackdown into Emolga and then digging my way underground are enough to stun the Electric Master, Elisa. Can you believe we already have half of the badges? Well, believe it, if you don't know much about Pokemon White 2, because we are far from halfway through this game. Strutting our stuff out of the carnival area, we make our way to the Lost Norn Forest to catch DB Cooper the Panseer. You may have noticed I didn't nickname him in-game, and that's because I'm dumb and hit the B button. But we all know his name in our hearts, so moving on. Much more importantly, on Route 16, I once again abused Repels and Rustling Grass to guarantee a 10% chance encounter with my own Emolga that we lovingly named Earhart. I encountered it in only 2 attempts, by the way, and caught it at full health with the first ball, so not to flex, just saying, Sigma behavior. I quickly dumped Dunsparce and Raticate to make room for our new, more exotic teammates before fighting a Team Plasma Grunt that scarily gets almost my entire team low by spamming Super Fang and Confuse Ray with his Watchog. And thankfully, coming away unscathed, our rival hits us with a sad backstory. Oh my god, is that the sad Alpharad music? I forgot that's where this came from. Huh. Anyway, I don't care what you have to say. We snag our only encounter possible on Route 6, Brutus the Trubish, before quickly crying since we can't use Ducklet, the Driftvale Bridge, or Zoroark from Driftvale City. Just let me use my emo fox. Whatever. At least we got Among Us! Now, with our possible encounters collected, I now have to face the glaring weakness in my team composition. Besides probably my starter, I have a huge ground weakness, and Clay is next. So I decide it's time. Time to bust out Her Holiness, Mother Teresa, after teaching her dig. And although I could plan this fight, my ability, Impatience, triggers again, and I once again decide to just wing it. And I lead Houdini the Fungus and kind of just hope for the best. I go, thankfully, unpunished once again, and only take a Torment from Krokorok before obliterating him with a Giga Drain in return. Out comes Sandslash, and looking at his moveset, I'm suddenly feeling a lot less confident, especially since Giga Drain is currently locked due to that Torment. I swap to Onix to tank whatever is thrown my way before predicting a Bulldoze and letting Alexander float right over it. It took dodging a crit since Carnivine's attack stat is so abysmal, but we were able to take care of Sandslash as well with some Vine Whips and a Feint attack to dodge the potion range. Now, here comes Big Scary Monster. At this point, I don't see an out without a sack and a free switch. I know I can swap into Onix, but then he's guaranteed to Bulldoze and no one on my team besides Carnivine can take the hit. Should I just kind of try and PP stall him out of Bulldozes? Well, I can't even really do that either because thanks to my Impatience ability, I forgot to give Onix the leftovers. So Onix would die well before he runs out of PP. So what do? Well, I see one way out. Goes for Slash, okay. That's fine. Probably for the crit chance. I hate you, Onix. We're going for Screech. Nice dodge. I think we go for Dig. That's fine. Onix, please come in clutch again. Okay, -2 defense, do half. Okay, a little too much because he's probably going to heal now. Oh, he might not. We go for Dig again. Nice. Finally went for Metal Claw. I don't know what his AI was doing. Let's go. Whew, that was scary. Yeah, so if he went for a second Bulldoze or a Metal Claw at any point, I would have been in really big danger. Glad he was feeling dumb and did slashes instead. I also owe Onix an apology. I didn't recognize his game, I'll say it, but this man has mostly single-handedly demolished 2 gyms in a row. I'm sorry. Alright, is that good? After securing our 5th badge, we make our way to Chargestone Cave and meet up with Bianca. I'm finally ready to move on with my life and advance the plot in any substantial... Bianca won't let me go past. Oh god, the PWT is not optional. I really don't remember this game at all. Well, running back to the PWT, I decided to throw in Onix, Audino, and Raticate, since they're essentially past the point of their usefulness. And yes, I know, I'm immediately throwing Onix under the bus after saying he earned my respect. And to be fair, he did! He earned it, past tense. I still don't think he'll be useful for long though. Regardless, we blast our way through the tournament and get a rematch with Charon, where I find out that Chinchino has Bullet Seed for some reason. Luckily it only hits twice. Never punished. And Charon gets robbed of his near guaranteed kill, and I quickly finish up and get the hell out of there just in time for our first major Team Plasma encounter. A double battle. With Charon as my partner. No. Yeah, so maybe I was getting a little too confident in how good the run was going and really didn't think I was at risk of dying to some random grunt. Whoops, my bad. Won't happen again. I'll pay better attention. I swear, super swear. While grieving the loss of our first premature loser, we get to hear more about Team Plasma and their goals.
The legendary Dragon-type Pokemon, and we will rule the Unova region.
Okay, old man, let's get you back to your home. Yeah, needless to say, I really could not care less. Their boat speeds away at about the same speed I run back to Chargestone Cave, get mad at Charon for interrupting me, and then immediately apologize after he gives me the HM for Surf that I promptly teach to Audino since she's the only one that can learn it. I finally get to progress in Chargestone Cave and get our encounter, a 10% chance Nosepass, who I name after the biggest winner on Twitch, Nags. Let's go, Nags. You're #1 in my heart. By reaching Mistralton City, I'm able to heal up and get us the 2 best encounters we're gonna get for a very long time. By leveling up Nags in the cave, we can get ourselves bigger nose Nags, sorry Nags, nothing but love and admiration, and Gandhi the Steely Resolved Steelix. I know, I said he was going to be useless. I kind of forgot you could get a metal coat. Moving on, I find out very quickly that you apparently get the Master Ball before Gym 6 in this game. Speaking of Gym 6, it might be the easiest gym since the first, as with a combination of Power Gem and Volt Switch from Purple Pass into Emolga, Skyla kind of gets eviscerated with little to no effort whatsoever. Getting the 6th gym badge here is great and all, but what really matters is that TM, Acrobatics, which I very swiftly teach to Emolga. Not wanting to slow down the pace, we head north to snag Catherine the Cubchoo on Route 7 and Curie the L-Gym at Celestial Tower. Before moving on with the plot, however, I realized that since I now have Surf, I can actually backtrack to get some much needed water types. So, after finding this totally legitimate Moltres in my box and teaching it Fly, I fly back to Aspertia City to snag the TM for Energy Ball and marry the Basculin. I then also fly to Verbank for Alamomola, who is named after my 500th subscriber who photobombed my recording with the sub-alert I didn't know I still had on. Shout out to Emu. Then I swim back into the sludge of the sewers to secure the Black Sludge item, effectively giving my team a second leftovers if I put either Muck or Garbodor on the team. And after moving the team around to remove the totally legitimate Moltres and add some much needed type coverage, I evolve pretty much anyone and everyone I can before realizing I'm supposed to board a plane that takes me to a Reversal Mountain. Immediately after landing, we snag a Firestone to evolve our only fire type Panseer into Simisear and encounter one of only 2 possible ghost types in the entire run, Drifblim. They might not be the most exciting ghost type, but I'm happy to have you, Bloody Mary. Also, up to you which Mary in history Basculin is named after now. Between L-Gym, Basculin, and Drifblim, I now kind of have 3 Marys on the team. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. We arrive at Undella Town and are able to very quickly deal with our rival. More importantly, I realize that I missed out on the strange house encounter, so I do a quick 180 to secure La Llorona the Banette, and after a lot of time travel shenanigans, I snag the Cold Winter Phenom, Stalin the Spheal. Finishing off our encounter frenzy with Marco Polo the Pelipper, we wave hi to Cobalion, speed through yet another time-wasting Team Plasma fight, and spray 9 million repels so I don't have to get a Combee on Route 12, and instead snag Robespierre the Pinsir, the closest thing that we have to a fighting type. After receiving our encounter, we receive a call from Virizion Wireless before hitting ignore on our phone and move the team around to better deal with the 7th gym. Heading into the gym, I start getting a little worried. I'm worried that so far, the run has kind of been a little too easy. I'm honestly considering scrapping the video at this point since it's not been too exciting. It just feels like that the game hasn't really started, and that's exactly when it started. Welcome to the official late game, where it becomes incredibly obvious that they expected you to use those legendaries they kind of offer on a silver platter. Instead, I have to bring in a Beartic that gets outsped and obliterated by a random gym trainer's sheer force Drudagon. Then, in a panic, I send in Stalin just to find out Ice Fang doesn't do half, and I would apparently be dead to a crit Rock Slide. Turns out, Walrein is not nearly as bulky as I thought it was. Sending in Steelix to tank the Rock Slide, I find out he also packs Flamethrower. Why? I'm low-key running out of options that I can see, so I swap to Napoleon and hope that the return he does enough damage to kill. And although he gets close, it's not enough. And in return, receives a Dragon Gem boosted Dragon Claw that obliterates him and tears him in half right before our eyes. In the end, I just bring in Graham Bell the Carablast, an encounter that I apparently got in Route 11 and just failed to mention, because I'm okay with losing him since it's impossible to evolve him without a second encounter I'm never getting. And thankfully, Drudagon doesn't get healed, and Graham Bell is able to quickly kill him with an X-Scissor. Curling into a ball and crying over being so easily rolled over by a random trainer, I realize I'm at a crossroads. Playing like a casual and just bringing in ice types isn't going to work. Losing Beartic showed me that. It's time. Time to fight against my ability and actually prepare for big fights. No more little kid attitudes. It's time to rearrange the team and actually try and predict how the fights will go. I'm going to employ a strategy revolving around Pinsir. Using his fighting moves, we should be able to... I overleveled Pinsir. I hate my ability. I swap Pinsir out for our wall that is Garbodor and march up to Drayden scared out of my mind, completely honest. But Determined that I can still do this. I'm not the greatest in the world. I have an awful ability as a trainer, but I'm prepared and determined. My adapted strategy is very simple. We shell smash on the Drudagon with Lennon and kill him with 2 X scissors, avoiding any crits with shell armor. We then swap to our wall, Gandhi, to dodge the rock slide, and swap again to Alexander to avoid the earth power and 1v1 the Flygon with 2 energy balls. Finally, his Ace Haxorus comes out and can scarily go for Dragon Dance. However, after checking the damage calcs, I find that the GOAT Gandhi can completely wall Haxorus, so I swap to him, just to get swapped out via Dragon Tail. Thankfully, eventually it gets situated and Steelix himself gets dragged out, and he starts setting up D-dances in hopes of doing damage, so I'm able to just slowly whittle him down with Iron Tails and Stone Edges, barely taking any damage and healing any that he deals with leftovers. So, although the fight was scary, I can confidently say to Drayden that he can dragon these nuts. Did you consider that? And secure the 7th gym badge. I barely get time to breathe as I get to fast forward through Team Plasma doing the opposite of a napalm strike on Opalucid City, and after some annoying slide puzzles and way too many close calls on the Plasma boss fight, we advance to Route 9, where there are no possible encounters. In fact, looking ahead, I hope you're not here for the possible encounters since unfortunately my potential arsenal is slowly drying up. That said, we are thankfully able to snag up Vlad the Woobat in Seaside Cave and Winchester the Remoraid on Route 21. Arriving in Humilau City, I'm able to get one additional encounter, but I decided against it until after the gym. Not for any strategic reason, but because, well, once again, impatience activates, and I don't want to chain rare encounters until I get it, until, after the gym fight where I kind of have to. Speaking of, gym ain't time. I pray that it is much easier than last time, and it is. Who knew that dealing with only 3 water types was so much easier than 3 dragon types? Alexander whips Caracosta and Wailord into shape before Marlin's Ace Jellicent comes out. And although it does take some time, I'm able to utilize Cleopatra to PP stall its ominous winds to avoid any Omni boost before letting Houdini, our sussy Baka, suck Jellicent for all of its worth. 8 gym badges down, but don't think our gym is done yet. Oh no. Now, late game truly starts. See, if you don't know Black and White 2, the gyms are merely side quests in this game. They're just a side thing for normal players of the city to complete. No, the real thing to prepare for other than the Elite Four is the dreaded fight against the boss of Team Plasma. But more on that later. No spoilers yet. Instead, 8 minutes of wasted time later, we get our fellow potential starter, Queen Lily the Corsola. And after waving goodbye to the last Sword of Justice, we grab the twins Neil and Buzz, the Lunatone and Solrock, before nearly dying to a Crussel's shenanigans. These 2 encounters signify the beginning of the end for me, unfortunately, as it is time to prepare for the Team Plasma Gauntlet. I try to move the team around to better suit all of the ice types I'm going to face, but with only one possible fire type in Simisear, who only knows Fire Blast, it isn't looking good for us. However, after several Team Plasma fights and after spending 5 minutes on a children's puzzle, I get jump scared by a boss fight, which I'm thankfully able to navigate out of with Probopass and Banette. But here's where the mini-boss of our boss gauntlet comes in. Colress. A man who, instead of using ice types like literally everyone else, he utilizes the power of Cool Steel. His steel types are so bad for my entire box of Pokemon that I literally shaped my entire team around just him and decided to just wing everyone else previously, including the boss fight right before him. But enough stalling, here we go. Time for the blonde baddie with the bad vision. We open with Gandhi hitting 2 bulldozes to take out Magneton before immediately swapping to Simisear since Gandhi took way too much damage with his abysmal special defense. Simisear takes an awful crit but claps back with his first ever Fire Blast. Unfortunately for me and him, I forgot that Magnezone has Sturdy. So, 07s for Simisear. He came to a single battle, let out a single Fire Blast, and then perished. Unfortunately, Carablast has a better record than Simisear. But it wasn't for nothing. This opened the door for Probopass to come in and finish him off with an explosive Earth Power, followed by more Earth Powers into Metang before his terrifying ace, Kling Clang, comes out. To quote myself from the past, I can't calm down yet, we're not out of the woods. In fact, we're barely in them. With Nags and Gandhi low, my options are not plentiful. In fact, I'm kind of running out of options, and I can see myself being drawn into a corner. Simisear's dead, Emu and Yorona can't take a hit and outspeed, and Houdini can't do any damage to it. With the end of my run facing me, I see one way out. Luck. See if Kling Klang only hits me 2 times, then I can survive, get off a Volt Switch, and finish off Kling Klang easily with Steelix, since its air balloon would be popped. Holding my breath, I click Volt Switch, and it misses. We're so back in this. With Gandhi in, Kling Klang greedily goes for a shift gear while I go for a bulldoze. Unfortunately, Kling Klang still outspeeds, and with a +1 gear grind, I know that it's unfortunately over for Gandhi. He carried us through so many battles, but I'd have to get so lucky for him to oh my god, he only hit twice. Hold on, we're actually still in this. Gandhi claps back with a huge bulldoze, taking down the Kling Klang, and out comes his final Mon, Beheeyem. I have one goal only for Beheeyem: get in Yorona. I consider sacking a Mon at first, but realize that there really isn't a Pokemon I'm comfortable with sacking off, since I may need them later for Getsis or the E4 fights. And like I was saying earlier, the number of counters remaining is quickly running dry. So I decide to swap in Alomomola. It survives any hit, even with a crit, and I can then protect to scout which move it's using. I'm trying to verify here that it wants to use Energy Ball, since this is the best move that Yorona can swap in and take. After confirming, I swap in Yorona and hit a Shadow Claw. Just missing the range. Damn it, Banette. It just didn't have the stats to come through. That's 2 Pokemon that got outperformed by a Carablast and got taken out on their debut fight. Thankfully though, Chorus is out of potions, so we can outspeed with Emu and kill with Surf, taking us out of our hardest fight yet with 2 dead friends behind us. Rest in peace, you two. Your typings were unique and useful for this kind of run, and I'm sorry I didn't utilize you better. I need to go to a Pokemon Center. Instead of a healing opportunity, however, I get jump scared by Getsis. Thankfully, I don't fight him right away, and instead just have to deal with random grunts before I quite literally nope my way out of there to the Pokemon Center. Getting to my PC, it finally hits me that I need to fight the ability ingrained into me as much as I can. No matter how much I want to just run in and spam the A button, I have to prepare for what is coming next without impatience. I have a 7 Pokemon team I need to prepare for and fight, and none of them are pushovers. Kyurem White, Cofagrigus, Seismitoad, Electros, Drapion, Toxicroak, and Hydreigon. All of these Pokemon are incredibly powerful and with extremely versatile movesets. I have to move carefully and somehow find 6 Pokemon that can deal with all of it. I sit down, I study, I pull up calculation after calculation, and with my secret weapon, more on that later, and deliberating for 2 hours, I find them. 6 Pokemon that I know can deal with Getsis. The problem is, I don't have 6 Pokemon that can deal with Getsis and Kyurem White. Unfortunately for me, I have to hope. Hope that I can deal with the legendary box art poster child with my impatience, and hope that my notes can carry me through Getsis. Here goes nothing. I lead the Kyurem fight with Nag since I need him to lead for the Getsis fight, but fortunately for me, they aren't a bad lead into Kyurem either. I start with a Thunder Wave to gain some semblance of speed control and only take a Dragon Breath for it. I then go for a Power Gem and only take a low damaging Slash in return. Next turn is much of the same and I somehow get a full para from him. This may not seem like much in the grand scheme, but this ensures that Probopass is almost completely at full health going into the Getsis fight, as I finish off Kyurem with only 2 more Power Gems. After Getsis rages like a child younger than his own child, we roll right into his fight, where I immediately realize that I get healed before getting into this fight, so it actually didn't really matter that much. Well, it's fine. Serious time now. Time to show that thanks to my secret weapon, I was able to predict the future. Turns 1 through 4, Probopass Power Gem until Cofagrigus kill. Take no stat drops. Should be at 85% HP after kill, then Seismitoad comes out. Takes a few more turns than predicted thanks to healing items, but it's no problem at all. We then swapped a Swoobat to dodge an Earthquake, then into a Moongus to kill with Giga Drain, where they are mostly back at full. Next is Electros, a Pokemon that I have literally no answer for throughout my entire box, but I do have one thing that most people would be too scared to use: a Bomb. Out comes Buzz, who has one job, and that job is to go boom. And boy does he. Big W's for Buzz. Next, I predict Drapion is going to come out and bring in Lennon. Due to their speed tiers and shell armor, I'm able to safely shell smash twice right in front of Drapion and click X Scissor twice to take care of not just Drapion, but also Ghetsis' ace, Hydreigon. Finally, his last Pokemon Toxicroak comes out, and none of my Pokemon can swap into it, so I actually need a clean switch or a way to kill it in one hit. Thankfully, Lennon just learned the move Rock Wrecker, which, at his +4 attack, is just enough to kill it. And if it misses, I'll still be fine. Yes, Lennon would be dead, but just like the real Lennon, his body would live on. Thankfully, we don't have to deal with zombie Lennon, and he hits the clutch Rock Wrecker, finishing off Ghetsis with only one planned death. And that's how you clear Ghetsis without any of the intended Swords of Justice. I can't put into words just how proud I was of myself that I was able to plan all of this near perfectly, but I can't slow down yet. This is only a preview for the main film. There's no time to grieve Buzz, no time to slow down, and no time to read this stupid text. Time to keep up our momentum. Route 23 has one last gift before Victory Road in the form of Teddy the Buffalant. It was either that or Sock or Throw, but I guess I'll take the Buffalo. With the former president in tow, I march up to the badge gate, swap my team around to prepare for the final hurdle before the Pokemon League, and our match with history. A match with history. History is our rival, if you don't remember. Sorry if that confused you. But before we have our throwdown, we throw our Master Ball into our last encounter of the game. A throw that I appropriately named after the biggest winner after today. Me. At least I hope. The plan for Victory Road is to essentially bring 6 Pokemon that I know will not be used in the Elite Four, so I'm kind of okay with losing, but I still believe they are strong enough to carry me to the end with a few exceptions in case anything goes terribly wrong. Speaking of, this random trainer with a Starmie decides to unfortunately crash Earhart out of the sky. Just completely obliterates her. She never stood a chance. And even worse for me, Emolga was kind of one of my major contenders for both the rival fight and the Elite Four. I think my biggest op this round might have been the random trainers. But again, there's no time to grieve. Time to focus. I swap into Teresa, who decided to step out of retirement to finish off this low health Starmie with a strength. But maybe I should have realized that sending an ancient old lady to kill anything was what the kids would call a bad move, since Teresa misses the range and similarly gets obliterated. Thankfully, the trainer has no more healing items, so Pelipper is able to finish it off before Sock comes out with rock moves. Apparently, the bloodshed is still not over, as I needed to sacrifice Mary the Basculin to get a clean switch into Robespierre, who finishes off the Sock with no issues. I want to reiterate that this was a random trainer. I'm kind of glossing over it since I'm embarrassed, but we lost 3 Pokemon, and the 3 we lost, minus Earhart, weren't that important, but we lost 3 Pokemon to a random trainer. So much for the momentum carrying us to the Elite Four. I've never gone so quickly from feeling so confident to instantly deflated. But unfortunately for me, there are still fights ahead. So I have to crawl back down the mountain, swap to a new, better backup team, climb back up the mountain, and crawl my way up to the summit, where history finds me literally crawling on my hands and knees. And although I have some of the weakest of my weak Pokemon with me, I did make a plan, and the rival thankfully only has 4 Pokemon. Hopefully I don't look too pathetic to him. Here goes nothing. The plan is basically the same as gets us towards the end. Shell smash twice on Unpheasant, and then kill it and Simipour, and oh my god, we are immediately derailed. It's so over. I literally have no answer for Simipour with my current team. The only thing I could literally think to do is PP stall it with Alomomola for 10 entire minutes before swapping Polo in and getting a Tailwind off before Simipour knocks itself out with struggle. Predicting a head charge, we swap in Grambell to die since we kind of need a clean switch, but that's fine. I brought them literally just in case I needed a free swap. And this is perfect because now I can bring in me, and then me, myself, and I can use Super Power to Oko the Buffalant. 2 down, 2 to go, thankfully. Next is Unpheasant again, and thanks to its annoying swagger strats plus facade damage, I don't really have an easy switch here either, so I swap in Polo to sacrifice himself, since I know I won't need them for the E4 either. I then bring in Lennon to hopefully kill with a Shell Smash into Rock Slide before immediately getting predicted again, as they do a quick 180 into Emboar that I really should have predicted. Thanks to this, I have to rely on another Rock Wrecker one-hit kill that'll leave me vulnerable to Unpheasant if it hits, and nearly guaranteed to die if it misses. So, I click the Rock-type Giga Impact again, and thank God it hits and kills. Unpheasant wants to Aerial Ace here, and it's a range to kill, so I make the executive decision to swap into Robespierre. It may seem weird to swap him into Aerial Ace, but he outspeeds Unpheasant and can hit a superpower for 60%. Oh no, that's not even close to 60%. Apparently my damage calc was wrong, but I don't know how. And to make matters worse, Unpheasant hit 2 max rolls, so now another potential E4 member is obliterated. Still not out of the woods, I have to bank on Crustle breaking out of Swagger Confusion to land a Rock Slide. Please don't kick me while I'm down, Crustle. Picking up myself and the remnants of half of my team off the ground, I trudge my way to the entrance of the Elite Four. Suddenly aware that in the distance, Bianca is calling my name back to the beginning. But it isn't over yet. It's not over until it's over. Sure, my box isn't stacked, and I did allow an entire dozen of my potential winners die throughout the run, but a lot of those were planned, or just not viable to begin with, and I just know that there's something in there that can help me reach the end. Copium. So there's only one thing left to do. Prepare like my life depends on it. So after leveling my entire box of remaining Pokemon to the level cap, committing this as if it's my full-time job for an entire day, and spending nearly 8 hours planning for the Elite Four and Champion, and running around the entire Unova region for some items, move tutors, and TMs that I need for my plan to work, I think I'm actually ready. I'm not exaggerating either when I say here that this is literally the only team of 6 that I could see making this work. Here's our future Hall of Famers with the titles they've earned along our journey. Charles Underdog Darwin, the cute Charm Chinchino with Charm, Rock Blast, Sing, and Encore, who earned the moniker of Underdog by literally never being used, yet somehow making it onto the most important team at the very end. Mary Wildcard Curie, the synchronized Behemoth with Psychic, Shadow Ball, Calm Mind, and Recover, who earned their label of Wildcard by being an unpredictable mess that I initially wanted to use as a special wall, then a setup sweeper, and then just a raw special attacker before settling on a mix of all three. Joseph Gorilla Stalin, the Ice Body Walrein with Rest, Body Slam, Ice Beam, and Surf, who is retroactively earning this title, says his entire role in every fight they are in is to get in, land a devastating attack, or execute a high-value target using any means necessary, before quickly extracting as safely as possible. Mahatma Wall Gandhi, the sturdy Steelix with Iron Tail, Bulldoze, Smackdown, and Rock Polish, who long since earned the designation as The Wall, for consistently and constantly exceeding my expectations and surviving literally everything thrown at him. Bloody Geologist Mary, the unburdened Drifblim with Baton Pass, Shadow Ball, Acrobatics, and Psychic, who is also retroactively earning this characterization for using Generation 5's main battle mechanic, Gems, and every battle they will be an active participant in. And last, but certainly not least, our most recent winner. I, myself, me. The Inner Focus Throw with Bulk Up, Storm Throw, Superpower, and Rock Tomb, who earned this identification by being named after me. Yeah. I'll reveal items used in each fight right before them, since every single fight has a set of items curated for specific Pokemon to ensure that they all go as perfectly as possible. But with 2 scientists, 2 bloodthirsty leaders, a pacifist, and me in tow, I march up the steps to the Elite Four and release a breath I didn't know I was holding as the gates close behind me. This is it. We either leave here champions our names etched into the history books, or we leave here in body bags, hopeful that our next incarnations can succeed where we once again failed, like so many in the Pokemon community thought we would. Time to prove some people wrong. There really is no good order for the Elite Four, except that one is much harder than the others, Chantal. So we're going to leave her for last because I'm terrified of her. She has the greatest potential to kill someone on our team other than the champion, so in order to keep our strategies viable, we're going to leave her last. We will instead fight everyone in order from easiest to hardest, starting with Caitlyn. Our strategy for Caitlyn is to show off why Curie deserves to be on this team. All we need is leftovers. Opening the fight, we use our best and only support Pokemon, Chinchino, to put Musharna to sleep. But this wasn't necessary since an Encore the next turn would have been perfectly fine, expecting either Yawn or Reflect. We then swap to Beheeyem and get a sweep started. Despite Musharna getting second turn Wake Up and 2 Charge Beam boosts, one with a crit, we are able to very quickly get to +4 special defense and special attack, heal up to full with leftovers and recover, and then click the funny Shadow Ball button 4 times to sweep through her entire team with little to no problems. 1 down, 3 to go. The next fight, Marshall, should be just as straightforward but much less reliant on a single Pokemon. That said, it still completely relies on our local geologist, Bloody, making her debut with a Psychic Gem, her handing a Psychic Gem as well to Curie, and Gandhi yoinking the leftovers since Curie doesn't need it for this fight. We open the fight with the first of many gem uses, this one by Beheeyem actually, using a Psychic Gem boosted Psychic to OHKO the throw and get it out of our hair completely. Next should be Sock, who wants to kill with a Payback or Retaliate, but oops, that's not Sock. That's fine though, I accounted for this. Mienshao basically wants to go for a U-turn so we can swap to Gandhi to bring the fight back on track since he'll swap to Sock, that's Conkeldurr. Okay, I'm so confused, but this is fine. It's a little sooner than I expected, but we can still employ the strats that I have written down. See, by utilizing Gandhi's insane defense stat and Bloody's typing, we can completely PP stall Conkeldurr out of Stone Edges and completely ignore its fighting and normal type moves. We can then kill him with a bunch of Shadow Balls so as to not waste a Psychic Gem. Afterwards, out comes Sock, and we are somehow, after a bunch of detours, back on the road that I planned. I live a Rock Slide and Retaliate kill with a Psychic Gem boosted Psychic, but crit Rock Slide or Flinch kinda ends the run here. Unfortunately for me, I didn't see any other ways around this since Beheeyem is too slow and not bulky enough to assist here. So against my will, I click the Psychic button, and no crit or flinch. Wait, he's not dead. Sturdy? Oh shoot, I forgot about Sturdy. Why is he the only fighting type with Sturdy? Why is this a thing? Okay, enough acting, actually. I accounted for this. See, Bloody here has a cool ability called Unburden. Since they used the Psychic Gem, they are actually able to outspeed the Sock now. So whether Marshall heals or not doesn't really matter. I'll always be able to kill with 2 Psychics. Marshall doesn't actually bother healing, and out comes his ace, Mienshao. Thankfully for me, even a 1 HP Drifloon is more than enough to deal with this Mon. Even if Drifloon had no moves, simply existing is too much for Mienshao. By swapping into Steelix, I can tank a bounce and get a free Iron Tail off, doing about half of his HP. This, however, isn't important, nor necessary. What is important and necessary is that Mienshao sees only one good move into Steelix, High Jump Kick. A move that deals half its HP if it misses. A move that just so happens to always miss our Ghost-type Blimp, Bloody. Swapping into her and aura farming for the camera, we finish off Marshall and head back to the plaza, feeling better than ever. 2 down, 2 to go. Now, Grimsley might be harder than Marshall, but only very slightly. He's only slightly harder since I have to use a slightly more technical strategy involving leftovers on me, Expert Belt on Stalin, and Flying Gem on our local geologist. We lead with the star of this fight, me, and thanks to my ability, Inner Focus, we can completely ignore Lipard's Fake Out and kill with a single Storm Throw. Next is Bisharp, and although it does decent damage with Aerial Ace, it too goes down to a single Storm Throw. Next, I'm expecting Scrafty, but instead get faced with his terrifying ace, Crocodile. My objective to deal with Crocodile is just very simply get Stalin out safely and click the Ice Beam button. Thankfully for me, Stalin survives 2 hits from whatever Crocodile throws at us. Unfortunately for me, we do still have to dodge a crit. Stalin comes out and... no crit. Unfortunately, it's not over yet since Crocodile outspeeds. So, second Earthquake comes out and... Stalin holds. We retaliate with an Ice Beam, and thankfully my math isn't wrong as Crocodile goes down. We're not out of the woods yet though, since out comes Scrafty. Since Stalin is so low, I can't reasonably predict what move he's going to go for, since basically any move will kill Stalin. So instead, I swap to Gandhi to effectively wall anything thrown at me. In this case, a Rock Tomb. I can now predict that he'll go for a Brick Break that Bloody can dodge, and then we can finish the fight by resorting back to my script, which tells me to finish off Grimsley with a Flying Gem boosted acrobatics to the Mohawk. 3 down, 1 to go. That said, if I had to put all 4 of the Elite Four on a difficulty scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being the hardest, Caitlyn would be a 2, Marshall would be a 2.5, and Grimsley would be a 3. Chantel, well, they're like an 8 or 9. She's where shit gets real, and it's thanks to that terrifying Chandelure ace of hers. One bad switch or crit, and it could be over in an instant. The dominoes would fall. But there's not much to do about it now. I give Darwin a Rostberry, our geologist a Ghost Gem, and Curie the leftovers she deserves, before marching onward to the last of the Elite Four. Time for our resident rodent to shine. If Darwin wasn't on this team, then Chantel becomes nigh impossible. Time to put you in the front and show why in a box full of heavy hitters, you survived the natural selection. Cofagrigus leads and wants to go for Will-O-Wisp, so we outspeed and go for Rock Blast. The damage isn't really important, but only hitting 2 hits is really annoying and not a good look. We heal off the burn with a Rostberry before going for an Encore. I know it seems weird to heal the burn just to Encore it into burning me, but trust the process. Every bit of HP is needed. Now that they are encored, we can swap into Behemoth and repeat the Caitlyn special. Calm Minding twice gives me just enough damage to one-shot kill the Cofagrigus and the Driftblim that comes out. A crit acrobatic kills me here, but thankfully, once again somehow, we dodge the crit, never punished. What is that, like 4 important crits we've dodged so far? Jesus. Next should come Golurk, and oh god no, my nightmare is coming true. Chandelure is out and wants to go for, most likely, random move. The goal from the start was to swap into Darwin, tank a Shadow Ball, and then go for Encore, eventually killing with enough Rock Blast. Now, the goal is still the same since I don't have an alternative, but there's a 50-50 chance that Darwin does not survive his evolutionary journey. Oh well, I don't exactly have a different option here. Out comes Darwin, and I finally lost a coin flip. I feel Bianca whispering in my ear before shaking it off. I'm not going back. I can't go back. But what can I do? Chandelure's special attack is so high that nobody can survive a hit except me. Just when I was ready to give in, my secret weapon activates once more to save me and push me forward. In the throes of our most important battle, I'm able to find the one sequence that gets us out. Sending Throw in. I just need to dodge 1 crit and land 1 Rock Tomb. Chandelure goes for Psychic and... Throw lives. Rock Tomb hits. We're in the clear. Now that Chandelure is at -1 speed, we can actually safely swap Stalin in on a Psychic and retaliate with an Expert Belt boosted Surf. Why we couldn't do this sooner is because they outspeed and Energy Ball one-shot Stalin. With the soul-stealing Solar Flare gone, all that remains is Golurk, but thankfully for us, after re-verifying via the damage calculator, we know that Stalin outspeeds and one-shot kills with an Expert Belt boosted Surf. With one friend down, we don't have time to grieve or even catch our breath, as it's time to finally show Iris who the real champions are. Our strategy for the champion is essentially an all-hands-on-deck situation. It relies on Stalin and Gandhi to get the job done with their sheer power and bulk. Me requires a Cherry Berry for some potential paralysis shenanigans against Iris's Lapras. Gandhi requires some quick healing with a Citrus Berry. Stalin gets to keep their Expert Belt, and our resident geologist once again gets to hold on to their Ghost Gem. Darwin's speed was going to be pivotal for dealing with Iris's Ace Haxorus, but we're just Gonna have to improvise. Hopefully not much more improvising is needed. With a rapidly pounding heart and heavy footsteps, I climb the marble stairs and stare my destiny down in the eye. Here we go. It's time for our losers to prove that they are winners. Okay. Come on. Enough with the talking. Let's do this, Iris. It's time to prove that we are winners. Take Goodman all. Alright. 5v6. This isn't a fair fight for Iris. They lead Hydreigon, which is fine. We lead Throw. And the plan is basically they're gonna go for a Dragon Pulse, and we're going to one-shot with Superpower. Here comes the Dragon Pulse. No secondary effects, thankfully. We're trying to dodge a crit, though. We dodge the crit. Superpower always kills. Now you may be like, okay, well, this should always kill. Why didn't it kill? Why doesn't it kill? This literally always kills. I did the calcs. Oh my god. My calcs still had expert belt on Throw. I'm throwing the champion fight. My calculations. Oh no, I can't believe it. In the very end, at the last fight, despite hours of prep, my ability Impatience activates once more. See, when you use a damage calculator, you can import your save data to get all of your Pokemon's exact stats, moves, and items directly into the calculator without any input needed from you. What I didn't know is that Stalin's expert belt was on me when I imported the data initially. I caught this when preparing for the Elite Four, but I actually prepared for Iris first. This means that I realized that I kept the expert belt on for calculations against the Elite Four, but I forgot to redo my math for the champion fight. All because I was too impatient. Facing my destiny was right. I couldn't escape my impatience. No matter how hard I tried, I just don't see another way out. My plans are completely gone since I need Throw to have more HP to deal with Lapras later. But when the world seems darkest, the smallest light shines brightest. My secret weapon. Time for it to introduce itself. Wait, this is just my useless ability. Why is it proccing now? That's right. Turns out, being impatient has its benefits. See, my ability has a side effect due to how impatience works. See, I rush through planning, fighting, and more due to, well, being impatient. Self-explanatory. I don't want to waste time on preparing every single turn and figuring out all the possibilities. That takes way too much time and energy. But you know what takes even more time and energy? Restarting the damn game. The farther into the game I got, the more impatient I got at the thought of restarting it all from the beginning. So every time my secret weapon activated, yeah, that was just my ability reminding me that there is nothing more time wasting and more annoying than doing it all over again. So, in short, what's the secondary effect to impatience? It causes me to find all my outs and lock the in. It's fine. They're gonna heal, so we go for the Storm Throw. They have all special moves anyways, so it's fine. So we Circle Throw. Because now that we have the attack drop, crit ignores the attack drop. This does at least half, which is what matters. Is that enough for them to heal again? No, okay, that's fine. Here comes another Dragon Pulse, that's fine. Oh, that's low HP. Okay. Hydreigon down. Now I'm less sure on what comes next, but I'm hoping it's not. It was supposed to be Archeops, I'm pretty sure, but here's Druddigon. What does Druddigon want to go for? I think it's random move. Behem. Behem is our sack against Druddigon. Dragon Tail. Ascended Walrein, this would be huge. Jesus Christ, crit kill. Okay. I mean, that also works, I guess. But Walrein comes in, outspeeds, and this should kill with Expert Belt Ice Beam. The Expert Belt, that cursed me in the damage calcs, but this should kill. Yep, that's Judagon. And next, I'm less sure, but I think it's all over the place. It's going to shit. I thought it would be Aggron who sees kill with Rock, but I guess it is outsped. Into you. And now they're going to want to surf, so now we can go Drifblim. He lives a surf. Or Sing? Excuse me? It's over. It's so over. It's so over. Because now Thunderbolt or Ice Beam kills. Yeah, we just have to sack. Sack Drifblim. Ghost Gem boosted Shadow Ball. It might help, it might not. And now we bring in Throw. Does it matter for Circle Throw? I don't think so. Yeah, I think we gotta bring in Throw and hope that Lapras gets a low range. If it gets a low range, then we live fine. But regardless, we need a superpower. Hit the low range, please. Low range. Throw! Hold on, pause, hold on, wait. Hold on. I'm holding onto my seat, hold on. There is a chance. There is a... Oh, I'm shaking. There's a very small chance that we come back from this. Here's Aggron. I need to see what Aggron wants to go for, but Walrein outspeeds, which is the important thing. Yep, Double Edge, that's fine. Earthquake was preferred, but Double Edge is fine. And now we outspeed and kill with Expert Belt Surf. Good. And next, I believe, is Archeops, who sees kill or outspeed and damage with Rock Slide. Yep, there it is. And we need Walrein healthy for the final fight with Axorus. We just hard swap in Steelix. Okay, how much does this do? Good. Also, if you're wondering, throw out a Cherry Berry. It was to dodge paralysis from Lapras Thunderbolt, but I never came down to it. What do you have? I forgot what I gave you. Oh yeah, the citrus, which is important. The one citrus that I was able to get. Now, I really need you to hit this Iron Tail, but hold on, wait, I need to think. This might actually be an opportunity to set up Rock Polish. I'm locking it in. I'm locking it in. Come on. Really? Dragon Claw? That does less than Acrobatics. Nice. Okay, we hit the Iron Tail. Get the range. Kill. Nice. We got the range. Let's go. Let's go, Steelix. Let's go. Okay. Now, we want to Bulldoze. We don't want to see Dragon Dance here. Dragon Dance would be bad for us. But now we Bulldoze. Dragon Dance is scary, but we're at least lowering the speed. It makes sense though, because it doesn't see kill with Earthquake, so it wants to up its attack. The main thing is breaking the sash and lowering its speed, so now it's at +1. Still didn't see kill, it might Dragon Dance again. So we're at neutral. Okay, no, it doesn't. Nice. There's a citrus. I don't think citrus matters anymore though, unfortunately. It's at -1. Steelix still doesn't outspeed though. It's gonna come down to Walrein. Yeah, it's gonna come down to Walrein. Yep. It all comes down to Walrein. Walrein lives a dual chop so long as it doesn't crit. The main thing is that it can live to get off one last ice beam. No crit. Come on, Walrein. Come on. Wait, outspeed. He won the speed tie. He won the speed tie. I didn't believe in him. I really didn't. I'm gonna be so for real. I didn't believe in our guy. Oh, we did it. I can't believe we won with Stalin. This isn't gonna look good on the YouTube. I can't believe we won with Stalin. Oh my god, I can't believe we steered out of that. I don't think that champion fight could have gone worse. Except for, you know, like wiping. It went so against my plan for the order, but we were somehow able to get it back on track. I'm sure I'm gonna show what order and stuff that I'm sorry, I'm still like razzled, but we got there. We steered. Pog Walrein and Pog Steelix coming in clutch at the end. Oof. I was really scared having to rely. And somehow, against all odds, with a Walrein named Stalin and me hobbling near death, we crossed the finish line. Even at -1 speed, Haxorus should have outsped Stalin and killed no matter what. But prior to this fight, I gave my Walrein the 2 Carboses that we acquired throughout our journey just on a whim, predicting that this 1v1 situation might have come up, so the extra speed points might have helped. But even with the 2 Carboses, it still wasn't enough to outspeed them. But Stalin leveling up to 59 earlier gave him a single stat point in speed. 1 point that was just enough to tie Haxorus' speed. In the end, it all came down to a single coin flip. Even when all seemed lost, even when my plans went completely south, I still played to my outs, and I still came prepared. Even if some items were useless, some items turned out to be the most important ones of the entire run. So always play to your outs. Always keep trying. And even if you're impatient, remember that there's nothing more tedious than restarting the run. Here's to our winners. Me! Leading the way. Gandhi, the Steelix, coming in clutch, doing barely nothing but walling damage. Stalin, I'm gonna move past that, but thanks for bringing us the victory. Bloody Mary, the Drift Blim, coming in huge for this Elite Four. I was annoyed at first, but Behemoth, I didn't think you were gonna do much, and then you did more. Chinchino, you let me down. Darwin, you let me down at every opportunity, except for the guaranteed encore. Let's go!